You have a fixed fee project and a set amount of hours to finish. As a project manager, the stakeholders are looking at you to make sure it completes within time and budget. In a perfect world, you get from task A to task Z without any issues or overages. However, we don't live in a perfect world. My name is Josh Moree. This is PMP Flow, and this episode is 5 tips to help you keep your project in budget. As a technical project manager, you most likely assign the project to an engineer or a team of engineers. Though they are the ones putting in the work, you are responsible for making sure the project stays within budget. Whether you have a slim budget or a healthy budget, you should always be focusing on the most effective means to complete the project and avoid scope creep. If you have a slim budget, simply telling the engineers keep it in budget won't do. Be strategic and formulate targeted methods to stay within the budget and be efficient. As I've mentioned in prior videos, directions must be clear as ambiguity is expensive. And a very critical note, you need the support of your organization's leaders to make change where needed. Without their support, budgets will continue to overrun and you'll find yourself a frustrated project manager. While I could attempt to give you over 100 tips on keeping a project within budget, every organization and every project is going to be unique in its own way. So my attempt here is to share a few ideas that you can expand further within your organization or your team. And in the spirit of list, here are my 5 tips to help keep your project within budget. Number 1, most importantly, utilize quality management. When I speak of quality management, I'm referring to quality assurance and quality control. Quality assurance is ensuring the process is followed. Following process gives the project team members clear direction and a shorter path on how to get from A to Z. Quality control is making sure it's done right the first time. With proper QC, you have little to no rework or additional visits to the site that end up eating up budget time. Think about it. Would you rather spend time making sure it's done right or spend additional time and money fixing what's already in production? If you don't adhere to the cost of quality, you not only spend additional time and money on your project, you risk the integrity of your client satisfaction and your organization. Number 2, don't be afraid to process change orders. Ideally, you've already accounted for everything in your scope. However, sometimes the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. Your scope should be detailed enough that it's clear if something arises which is out of scope. If you discover something that will cause additional work or additional materials, your project process should already have a clear change management sub-process. Everyone on your team and across departments should know how the flow of a change order works. For example, if an engineer finds an issue that is out of scope, it gets reported to the project manager, and then the PM evaluates the issue. The PM should consult stakeholders, subject matter experts, and whoever else would help to make an informed decision on how to proceed. Based off that information and time to close, the PM may decide to absorb the additional cost. Alternatively, the PM may elect to follow the change management process and proceed with the change order to the right resource department, whether it be scoping, the account manager, or directly to procurement. Keep in mind that a PM doesn't have all of the answers, but can consult with others to make the right decision. Number 3, select the right resources for the right job. Notice here I'm saying the right resources and not necessarily the best resources. There are 2 approaches on choosing resources I'd like to discuss. Best resourcing and WIP, which stands for work in progress. If you're like most companies, you'll have a staff who are generalists and some who are specialists. Ideally, you'll have the best resource, the specialist, to do the right project every time. And that's exactly how best resourcing works. However, when we come back to reality, we have to realize that we cannot always have a specialist doing nothing waiting for the right project to come along, especially if there are projects waiting in the queue. While best resourcing has its place, it's not always the most advantageous. WIP, which is more of an agile approach, still utilizes best resourcing, but takes into account capable resourcing. Most likely, there are aspects of the project which don't require a specialist to complete. You determine who else is capable to do the work. Additionally, the capable engineer is gaining experience in this particular product, and now you're facilitating growing your team's skills. So use a combination of best resourcing and a WIP where it's advantageous to help keep your budget in check. Number 4, discourage gold plating. Gold plating is similar to scope creep, except gold plating is where the engineers are adding additional features or finishing touches that may not be in the scope. While one could argue the engineer is simply trying to white glove or give more than expected, it ends up costing your organization additional money, time, and could run over the budget. Stakeholders will agree on the scope ahead of time, and anything more than that could be gold plating. However, it's not to say that we shouldn't listen to the suggestion of their engineers. If your engineer has a great idea, we could discuss having it proposed to the client as an additional project or as a change order to the existing project. Change can certainly be welcomed in any project. We just need to ensure it's following the process to implement that change. Number 5, let the project manager manage the project. In a prior video, What is a Professional Project Manager?, I discussed the various matrix types: strong, weak, and balanced. In short, if the organization has a strong matrix organizational structure, the project manager is the authority in the project work. In a weak or balanced matrix organizational structure, the PM may have struggles in obtaining resources, scheduling, and even making decisions for the benefit of the project. If you have a skilled, certified, experienced project manager, allow him or her to run the project as they need. That's all I have to share on this topic. I hope you enjoyed. If you find yourself in a reoccurring situation with budgets going over, find the tools to help correct the course. You can also utilize brainstorming with your team to help hash out ideas for techniques, methods, tips, and tricks to see what everyone can do to help make the project more efficient. Keep in mind that when we have buy-in from the project, people are more likely to follow it. And to re-emphasize a very important note from earlier, you must have the support of your organization's leaders to make changes where necessary. And this is where you are not only a project manager, but work to become an influencer in your organization as well. Thanks for watching. Leave comments, ask questions, and keep moving forward. Thanks.